Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm here today to do a little review of these bad boys. So what is this? So clearly it's a 165 frame. And there are three basic wheel configurations that this is made to accommodate. So lengthwise from 1 to 4, it's 255. So as you may have guessed by this point, it can be a 4x84 frame. 84 frames, in my opinion, can also serve as extra long 4x80 frames. The ride height difference is 2 millimeters, so think about how tall your skates feel today versus how tall they felt a few weeks ago. Like you're not going to notice 2 mil ride height. The other way that you can skate these, you can see there's the center bolt. They actually accommodate 3x100. So you can have 4x84, 4x80, or 3x100. So let's talk a little bit about the 84 versus 3x100. So there have been a few attempts at stuff like this. Traditionally, it haven't really worked out. They don't work out with UFS or Trinity mount too well. Basically because, by design, those frames already shove the wheels up as far as they possibly can. So there becomes like a big issue of clearance, usually around this middle wheel. With 165, this isn't the case. So this 4x84 frame is the exact same height as my Symmetrics 4x84 frame. Like it's a 484 frame. There's no compromises made at that end whatsoever. But just because of, the raised heel, and then in the front, the boots always have that little platform, it creates a lot of extra space right here to accommodate that middle 100 millimeter wheel. So oddly enough, 165 is the one mounting standard that can really bring this concept to life. Oh, and by the way, here's what they look like all mounted up. And you can see plenty of clearance here for that middle 100 millimeter wheel should you need it. Of course, compass wheels because hashtag product placement. Another feature of these frames is the first and last axle are rockered up more than a half millimeter, less than a millimeter. So if you want to think about, they're similar to the back of Wizard frames, a little bit bigger than that, and symmetrical, of course. Wizards have that asymmetrical rocker. And symmetrical versus asymmetrical rockers is really a matter of preference. After probably 2 wheel rotations, you probably won't notice the difference anyway. But, things to consider. Another feature of these frames, these are machined out of a solid block of aluminum. And just for some additional weight reduction, you can see in the top there's a little bit cut out between those blocks. And then the bottom, there's some little cutouts there. So who are these for? So I could see really a wide variety of people being satisfied with this. First type of skater that I could see really enjoying these would just be your typical city skater, like, Bill Stoppard style, something like that. 4x84, in my experience, is really nice for cruising around the city, especially in certain spots. Wheels that are bigger than that, when you get too stoppy and starty, they get kind of laborious. And for me, I know I usually opt for smaller things than everybody else, but 4x84 for me is really the best kind of city cruising setup for my city. Because like I said, there is a lot of stop and start. There is a lot of, dodging of various things. You want some good glide out of your wheels so you don't tire yourself out too much. And yeah, 4x84 in my opinion is great for that. You also have the option, like I mentioned earlier, of going 3x100. So if you're skating a different part of the city, or maybe you want to hit a bike path for the day or something like that, you can just check in your 3x100s and then, experience that longer roll, longer glide. You're not going to be stopping and starting as much. So, you can compromise in that way a little bit for, better top speed. Also just being slightly rockered, people that are used to skating a flat setup, I think you're going to have no problem whatsoever transitioning to these. After you skate your wheels for a while, they kind of naturally wear in a rocker. This is usually when your setup feels the best if you're used to skating flat. Benefit of this is you get it right out of the box. So of course, as your wheels continue to wear, it'll sort of customize in different ways. But that out of the box feel matters a lot. Like, it's never a good feeling, when you get a fresh set of wheels and they feel so weird that you have a hard time like readjusting to them. The second type of skater that I could see really getting into these would be your hardcore urban skater. Really, most of the people out there doing this are rocking 165 mount boots. So this is, literally made for them. The slight rocker, I think is nice for, doing slides and stuff like that. But it's not so big that on jumps, you're going to feel like very unstable. Like for the wheels to squish the amount that it would take to make these all four flat, like you won't even notice it. A couple other features that aid this, of course, I already mentioned that the frame walls are super thick, so you don't have to worry about them breaking, twisting, etc. The slots that the bolts actually go into, certain skates are worse about this than others, but because of the nature of 165's adjustable mount, like they shift around a lot, or they have the potential to shift around a lot. With these having smaller slots, if you come out of a trick and your frame gets knocked out of alignment, it's not going to be that bad. Versus like something wider mounted, like a rollerblade frame or something like that, you'll still be able to skate home and feel like pretty comfortable, worst case scenario. And of course, again, on this point, going back to the 3-wheel, if you prefer, 3 wheels for doing slides or something like that, this frame can also accommodate you. There's been some efforts in the industry to make frame swapping really easier and more manageable to do. But swapping axles is like way easier than any of these systems. The next kind of skater, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, would be somebody that's just starting out. I think would have a really good time on these frames. So I know we generally point beginners towards something with a flat setup because we think, oh, it's more stable, it'll be easier, But really for skating flat, you have to be pretty comfortable skating on 1 foot. Like your 1 foot glide's got to be in place. Because you literally turn by picking up 1 foot and putting it in another direction. And that 1 foot glide for beginner skaters is pretty difficult a lot of the times. I mean, sometimes it takes people months to get comfortable for skating even a half second on 1 foot. So with a slight built-in rocker, I don't think it's going to make people feel unstable at all, but it will add a little bit of intuitiveness. And by that, I mean, if you want to turn your foot a little bit, you totally can. That's a viable way to turn. If you're starting to learn some very basic learn to skate moves, like your half swizzle pumps and slaloming through your heels and stuff like that, this rocker is enough to be successful with them. But again, is not going to make you feel unstable. The last type of skater that I could see really enjoying these would be like your slalomy, movesy, figure skatey kind of dance skater who is looking for something that's slightly more urban than the dance setup, but still wants to be able to do moves. So when I first got these, I skated them flat, which is okay. Like I said, if you're doing a lot of like 2 foot flowy stuff, very basic moves, you don't mind a little bit of wheel slide in your moves, good option. Really what I wanted to see is if I could get a good 2 foot slalom and half swizzle pump and all those beginner moves out of it. Because I wanted to see how they would be for beginners. But anyway, so after that, the next day that I took them out, I actually banana rockered them. So now in addition to the built-in rocker, I also added another 2 to 3 millimeters. I don't know, I had some old wheels laying around and I got the calipers out and I don't remember what I ended up doing. But moral of the story is it felt pretty good. I didn't have any 84s on hand. To skate these and make them my urban setup, I would probably do 84s in the middle and 80s on the outside. Moves weren't as easy. I had to relearn a lot of stuff. But by the end of the session, I mean, I was doing fine. Like, were my twizzles quite as crisp as they are on my setup that I've been skating? No. Are they better for dancey type of stuff when banana rockered than a shorter frame? No, of course not. But with the extra length coupled with the slight bit of extra rocker that you get, and then the potential for 84s in the middle, I think they'd be really good for me for something that's mainly cruising, but I still want to do moves and I want to jump off stuff every now and then or stair bash every now and then. I think perfect setup for that. Construction wise, the guy that made them has a background in engineering, and looking at them, like, you can totally tell like these are solid frames. Knocked it out of the park. Quality, I would put them on par with Adapt or anything else. At the price point, slightly under $200. I would say it kind of hurts because I really want beginners to have these. Like, I think all skates should come stock with something like this, varying sizes based off your foot size. But the ability to turn your foot to turn is something that beginners need. Like, it's such a big thing missing in skates right now, and it hurts. But, nature of something DIY, small run. By the way, I'm super excited to have something 165 that's kind of DIY-ish, because usually, UFS gets all the love. But it's a very high quality product that I think is 100% deserving of the price. It's something that I can see myself skating in the future, like I said, for, more urban applications. I think a lot of people are going to be really, really happy with these frames. It makes me really excited. Kind of a cross between like the Cultic bats and like an NR90-ish and like a Symmetrics 84 frame, but very different from all of them in key ways that makes them not really comparable to each. Yeah, dude, these are great.